breaking barriers, I started to wonder if I was qualified. Did I break any barriers that I can present today? After running through endless calls and meetings during the day without no clear result, I'm very worried whether my startup company can survive the next month. We have just raised approximately $3 million in Series A funding. We're in the process of making steady revenue or any equivalent key result, which period is also called best value. The odds of successfully going to the next round of capital venture funding is just 10%. And I wonder if I'm qualified to give any pieces of advice on the topic of breaking barriers. And I started to question, what is breaking barriers? How do you determine the state of breaking? And how do you define the barriers? I started to recall how the journey of our startup, Alice, began. Alice is a computer science education platform that provides online programming environment, automatic grading and feedback, and class dashboards to help teachers teach computer science efficiently and effectively. Our mission is to create new opportunities for everyone by providing computer science education in the platform. We're in the process of breaking barriers to achieve our mission. How did I get to this point? Today's talk is about how I've taken 3 considerations into account when defining barriers of my startup company. The first consideration when defining barriers is to understand yourself. We encounter many barriers throughout our lives. Frequently, we simply accept barriers that others have set for us, such as exams, projects, performance reviews. I was not different from ordinary students. When I moved to Canada in grade 11, my barrier was set even before I started my school in Vancouver, which was going to the university in Canada. Eventually, I did break the barrier, not my barrier, but the barrier that my parents have set for me. I decided to go to System Design Engineering School in University of Waterloo. However, when I started university, I wasn't sure what my next barrier was. My grades dropped and my struggle began. When you broke the barrier that you did not set, you often struggle to find the next barriers. Fortunately, my university had a unique program called Co-op, which is a series of mandatory internships. As you can see, any student in my program worked in Canada or abroad in the US. During my co-op, I worked as a software engineer in 5 different IT companies, such as A&B, Apple Canada, and NVIDIA. I was able to gain fruitful experiences and explore myself, additionally, I earned a decent amount of money, which gave me financial freedom to explore myself further. I was excited to try new things and share an unforgettable experience during my co-op. I started to understand that I have extreme curiosity and motivation to make an impact. After graduating from the university, my exploration continued. I joined TELUS, one of the biggest telecommunication company in Canada, and TELUS had a program called Business Transformation Leadership Development Program. We called it BTLDP. It's a rotation program that you could work for various roles for 2 years. I worked as developer analyst, project manager, and user experience designer. And after I worked, I even tried this to explore myself. My friend and I imported Korean cosmetics, such as mask packs and sleeping packs that I had never used before, and sold them in the night market in Vancouver during weekends. Well, obviously I didn't have much interest in cosmetics, so it was hard to continue. so I gave up in a month. But the experience taught me understanding what I like and dislike. When I saw opportunities in AI and machine learning, I quit my full-time job at TELUS and came to Korea to pursue a master's degree in computer science at KAIST. My exploration of understanding myself continued again throughout my graduate school. I studied abroad a year in Berlin, came back to Korea to complete my master's, and tagged along with my advisor for a research internship at Harvard University. When I came back to Korea, it was just then that I started to work on education research, which was the start of ELIS. I spent 10 years since starting university to settle down to a specific topic that I would love to work on, the barrier that I would love to break. Building a startup company and developing complex platforms were very challenging. We had to work extremely long hours to code, iterate, and reiterate to improve our platform. If the barrier weren't the barriers that I love to break, I would not have been able to withstand and endure devastating periods while founding ELIS. It could take years of exploration to find barriers that you love to break. But if you simply accept barriers that others have set for you without knowing what you like or what you love to do, it is extremely difficult to go through the hard times of breaking barriers. I worked as more than 10 different jobs and roles for the past 10 years. And I was quite nervous when I felt like I had no depth in my career. And when I felt like I was far behind as my friends and family were moving up the ladder. But eventually all these experiences helped me find what I love and helped me define my barriers. So you've got to take your time to explore and understand yourself. And at some point, you will be able to define the barriers that you love to break. So moving on to the second consideration for defining your barrier is listening to others. When I finally decided my barrier, which is improving computer science education by applying AI and machine learning algorithms, my initial goal was to publish a paper in a conference. For the research purpose, we developed the first prototype of ELIS platform and applied to middle school students in TCIS. We also opened up for an online machine learning course. Our machine learning course got so popular that 4,000 students in Korea registered in 3 weeks without running any ads or promotion. Although we successfully finished our course and wrote a paper about our findings, our paper got rejected. The data we collected was incomplete, noisy to use in the research. In order to publish a paper, I had to properly hypothesize and develop a robust platform to collect rich information. And at the time, the Korean government made computer science as a mandatory course for public schools to teach computer science to everyone. So it was very clear that a more highly functional platform was needed to teach computer science at scale. After a few days of contemplation, I redefined my barrier to build a high-fidelity and production-ready education platform to enable computer science education at scale. I stopped my graduate school temporarily to focus on breaking my redefined barrier. Break barriers that have more positive impacts for everyone. You sometimes need to adjust your barriers. ELIS mission statement has constantly changed as we listen to our students and teachers. We initially had a public leaderboard to compete for each other. However, we found out that only a few students learned effectively and benefited from the competition. So we made it private. There are many other methods to motivate students to learn as well. One was to provide immediate feedback. We found out that if a student was in a group and got feedback in 3 minutes, the rate of completing the online course increased more than 150% than a student who self-studied. Since then, we attempted to create a more interactive learning environment by adding new features like pair programming and chat. LS objective has changed from simply providing online course to providing more interactive environment. You must listen to others and adjust barriers accordingly to achieve positive outcomes when you break the barriers. So the third and last to consider when defining your barriers is collaboration. In a highly competitive environment like Korea, we often forget how to collaborate. The society is more focused on individual achievements, such as passing entrance exams and getting high scores. The best results out of these achievements are often becoming doctors, lawyers, and professors. Breaking such personal barriers are also important, but if we fail to collaborate and aim for bigger barriers, we will fail to innovate and share prosperity with our society. Collaboration is the key to succeed in breaking bigger barriers. So at the beginning of developing LS, Sween and I are the only developers. We built the first prototype, and it could only serve a group of 35 students. When Jungkook joined the team, collaborated for the second prototype, LS platform served more than 4,000 students. When we collaborated, we helped 100 times more students to learn computer science at LS. When we collaborate, we can define bigger barriers. Collaboration is not simply distributing work. It is finding the strengths of individuals and aligning them to work together flawlessly. Sween is a fast prototyper and now responsible for the front-end development of LS. Jungkook is very thorough and highly skilled back-end developer who now leads the back-end team. Jane leads the design team and she is a creator of LS logo, color, the user experience of the platform. 20 more LSers with each individual strength collaborate and break barriers together. One of my roles is to discover each individual strength and encourage everyone to perform the best. Sometimes it could be overwhelming. But as one team, we now have to find a bigger barrier, which is to create new opportunities for everyone through our education platform. And at the end of the day, I may fail to break bigger barriers, but I believe it is already an achievement to try breaking my self-defined barriers, barriers that I have redefined multiple times for positive impacts, the barriers that I've set bigger as we collaborate. To close my talk, I want everyone to stop and think. When you came to TEDx event today, you were asked to write your barrier on wooden boards. Were those your barriers? Were the barriers thoroughly defined? I want to urge you to take your time to understand yourself, listen to others, and collaborate to define your barriers. I hope you were able to redefine some of your barriers, and I look forward to seeing you break them in the near future. Thank you.